Hey guys, welcome to another one of our online events in support of this year's Summer Reading Challenge. As you should know by now, this year's challenge is the Silly Squad, so everything we're trying to do is just a little bit silly. And for me, there's nothing more silly than pretending to be an animal. And the best way to do that is to make a little puppet. So today, we're going to be making finger puppets. We're going to make one that I think is quite easy and everybody should be able to do, and one that takes a little bit more work. And the fun thing about things that take a little bit more work and are a little bit more tricky is there's lots of room for things going wrong. Hopefully they won't, but if they do, I hope it's funny. Okay, so we're going to get on with our first finger puppet today, and we're going to make a mouse. Okay, I love pretending to be a little mouse. When you watch me do my rhyme times, if some of the younger viewers are watching, you will see that I love to do hickory dickory dock, and I pretend to be a mouse. But there's something missing from there, so I think we need to make a mouse to go on a finger. So it's very easy. I've got everything I need in front of me. Let's just go through what we need. We need a piece of card. Doesn't really matter what colour it is. I've got white card. If you've got grey card, that's great. If you've got brown card, you can even make a purple mouse if you want. There's no rules here. Okay. We've got a pencil. We've got a couple of felt tip pens. I've got a pink and a black. The reason for that will become obvious. I've got some sticky tape. I've got a pair of scissors, and I've got a round paper plate. Now you don't have to have this. Get something round about this shape if you can, about this size, but we will need one of these for the second craft today. So if you have got one, brilliant. If not, then you pause the video, maybe run out to the shops, buy a paper plate. Okay, so we're going to make a mouse. So we take our card, and what we need to do first is I want you to get your finger, it's your pointer finger, your index finger, and I want you to put it up against the piece of card like this. Okay. So the bottom of the piece of card is level with the bottom of your finger. And then I want you to measure to the end of that and then add another fingernail on if you can. So if I'm going to do this here, see, I'll do that and then I'll add a fingernail on, and then I'm just going to make a little mark with my pencil. Okay. And then I've done that there. Hopefully you can see where I've made the mark there. And then I need to do it on this side as well. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. And add a little bit on for the fingernail as well. And then what you've got there is if I hold the card like this, you've got a point pointing down, and then you should have two marks here. Okay. And then what we do is we get the plate, and I want you to put the plate on. So start with the point at the bottom and move it up until the sides of the plate are touching the two marks you've made on your card. And then I want you to draw around the plate in a circle. Okay? So you should have a circle like that. Can you see that? Okay? So that's going to be the basis for our mouse. So what we do now is we get the scissors. And if you're a bit young, then maybe get a grown-up to help you with this bit. And we're going to cut around that circle that we've just drawn. What are you going to call your mouse? I think I might call mine Mortimer. I don't know about you. Maybe you want to call it Mickey. Maybe you want to call it Minnie. Maybe you want to call it something that doesn't begin with M. That would be a really weird thing to do. Okay, so we'll put this card to one side. So we're going to need that again in a minute. But now you should have a piece of card that looks a little bit like this. Okay, so it's pretty much, there we go, we have a look, about the right size, finger each size. And then what we need to do, we need to curl this bit of card. Okay, so just lightly give it a bit of a curl. Okay, just make it a bit curly. Again, focusing on the point at the end. Okay, and then we're going to start folding it over. And we're going to make a cone. Okay, so imagine you're having an ice cream. Okay, and then we're going to make a cone with this. All right. Okay. Okay, so you can see there we've got a bit of a cone. Then what you can do, you can put your finger in and then you can tighten the cone so that the cone makes a nice snug fit on your finger. Okay, you do that? I like that. And then what we want to do then, we want to just take a small bit of sticky tape and we want to fasten it over the end like that. So you See, so that will hold my cone together. And you can already see, it's already starting to look a bit like a mouse. Okay? But what does a mouse need? Well, a mouse needs a couple more things. So the first thing a mouse needs is a nose, because what mice love doing is they love sniffing. So that's why I've got my pink pen here. So I'm going to take my pink pen and I'm going to draw at the bottom of the cone just a bit of pink. There we go. And there's my mouse's nose. Now, the next thing a mouse needs is whiskers at its nose. Now, you can get really clever and you can cut this spare piece of cardboard. You can cut some very, very small pieces of card and use those as whiskers. But I'm just going to draw them on for today because I don't want to do anything too complicated until we get to our second craft. So I'm just going to draw a couple of whiskers leading off my mouse's nose, just so he can go round and he can twitchy sniff at everything. And then once he's sniffed at everything, he's going to need some eyes, because you want to see what you're looking for. So I'm going to draw a couple of eyes on the top side of the cone, just like that. Okay, can you see that? So now, if I put my mouse back on, it looks a little bit more like a mouse. But there's still a few things missing. What does a mouse need now? He's had a sniff, he's seen something with his eyes, but he now needs to listen to something. So we need to make some mouse ears. So this is where we go back to the piece of card that we've got here. So I'm just going to cut a couple of small circles off here. So it's like an archway, really, if you look at it. And then let's cut another one. Okay. So you should have two small archways here. And then what we're going to do then is, again, we're going to get another little bit of sticky tape and stick that on there. So you put half on the arch, half hanging off, and then we'll find a nice place to put his ears. I think about there is a nice place to put his ears. Okay. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of snipping around here just to make sure that it fits nicely, but again, you can ask a grown-up to help you with that. So there's one ear we've got on there. So now we're going to take the next ear. So let's have a look. Here we go. Let's stick this one on there. Okay. And if you want to, for a bit of extra security, you can put another bit of tape on the back of the ears. Okay, so I'll do that just now, just so our mouse is nice and sturdy and that his ears don't fall off, because that would be the worst thing if his ears fell off. So we've done that there. So there we go, there's our mouse. But I still think there's one more thing missing. What does a mouse have on his bum? He has a tail. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, we're going to go back to our little bit of card here, and I'm going to cut a long, thin piece of card. Okay, maybe do it about 4 or 5 millimeters thick, but as long as you want to make it. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to curl it around my finger. Okay, as tight as I can, and pull it tight. Okay, so I've got a nice curly bit of cardboard, and then when I uncurl it, you can see that the cardboard stays curled. And then we'll take another bit of sticky tape, let's pop that on there, and then we'll stick it inside the mouse. Okay, and there you go, we've got a mouse. He's got a nose, he's got some whiskers, he's got some eyes, he's got some ears, and he's got a curly tail. And now you can have all the fun you want with your little mouse. Hopefully you'll have had fun making that. I'll see you again with part 2 of our craft event, where things get a little bit more complicated. See you in a minute. Welcome back. So you've made your mouse, and now it's time to make something else a little bit more complicated. Hopefully last week you'll have enjoyed me reading SEO Trot, Roald Dahl's rather silly story about a tortoise and a couple of people as well. But the tortoise is my favourite thing around the story. So I thought it might be fun to make a finger puppet of a tortoise. Now you might think, how are we going to do that? Well, it's very simple, but also a little bit complicated. They're the best kind of things. So first thing we need is to go through what we need to make our tortoise. So we need some green card. Okay? Doesn't have to be green, but green is the best colour for the card for today. We need the paper plate. Remember I told you about the paper plate in the earlier craft? This is what we really need for this one. Okay? And if you haven't got a paper plate and you still want to do this craft, then you just can get a circle of card, about like this bit. Okay? It's about the size of a saucer, the bit you need. Okay? So then we need a pencil and we need a couple of pens, and this time I've got a black pen and I've got a brown pen. Okay? That reason for that will become obvious. And I've also got some sticky tape, because you can't do any of this stuff without sticky tape. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the tortoise shell. So this small paper plate is perfect for that. It's exactly the right size, and if you can see, I'll just put it over my hand a bit there. It looks a little bit like a tortoise shell. But the first thing we need to do is decorate a bit. So let's make a tortoise shell pattern on our tortoise shell. Now, tortoise shells, if you look at them, they're a little bit like a football, in that there's lots of hexagons, and a hexagon is a six-sided shape. So I'm going to go straight in with my black pen, and I'm going to draw a big hexagon in the middle of my plate. Can you see that? And then I'm going to draw another hexagon coming off it, and it doesn't matter if your hexagons aren't perfect, because tortoises, those shapes form naturally, so they're not always perfect. So you can see I've now got 3 hexagons, and then what I'm going to do from there is expand the hexagons out. Okay. And your hexagons can be as big or as little as you want them to be. And then from there, where I've got hexagons covering the middle bit of the circle, I'm just going to draw some lines down to the edge. Okay. So everywhere there's a point, you find a line and we'll draw it down to the edge. Okay. Right, so as you can see, it does look a bit like a football, doesn't it? But we need to make it a little bit more like a tortoise. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get our brown pen. Okay? And what we're going to do with our brown pen is in the inside of our hexagons, we're going to draw a kind of a rounded squarish type of shape. And we're going to colour it in, and I'll show you what I've done after I've done the first one. Do-de-do. Any of you like to sing any songs as you're colouring in? I'm colouring in a tortoise today. I'm colouring in a tortoise today. So there you see, I've done that in the middle of the square. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to sort of colour in the space in the middle, leaving a bit of space around the edge, but having a nice brown splodge in the middle of every hexagon. So, there we go. This is going to be a fine looking tortoise. Did you decide what you were going to call your mouse in the last one? You're going to have to decide what to call the tortoise this time. In SEO Trot, the main tortoise is called Alfie, which is quite a good name for a tortoise. I've never had a tortoise as a pet. If I did, I might call him Tony. As you can guess, I do like pets' names that have the same letter as the animal, and that's what's known as alliteration. I'm a big fan of alliteration. But we're colouring in these circles. As we can say, we'll go back to our song. I'm colouring in a tortoise today. I'm colouring in a tortoise today. He's gonna be a fine one, a green and brown and white one. I'm colouring in a tortoise today. And I am available to make up songs. If you want a song for your musical that you've got an idea for, if you want to be the next Hamilton, just come and see me and I will sing songs for you. and make them up. I mean, I make my best songs up about ordinary things. So, for instance, eating peas. I can make up a good song about that. Okay, you got to eat your peas, you got to eat your peas, or you might sneeze if you don't eat your peas. Songs like that, you know, quality. That's what you're getting with me. You're getting quality songs. While I'm doing this, why don't you sing your song? Hopefully you're colouring in as well at home and singing along. Maybe you're singing the Colouring in a Tortoise song. Maybe you're singing something else entirely. Maybe you think you can't sing. And do you know what I say to that? Everyone can sing. There's no such thing as not being able to sing. Same way as there's no such thing as not being able to draw. Everyone can do it. We just all do it a little bit differently. And the secret to doing anything like this is to just have a go. So when I made this yesterday, because I did do a practice before I filmed this for you, I'd never done it before, and it had never existed anywhere outside of my head. But I sat down and I did it and I gave it a go, and I came up with something that hopefully looks a little bit like a tortoise. We'll find out when we get to the end of that. So it really is just a case of having a go at these things. You've just got to give it a go, and who cares what it looks like at the end? As long as you're happy with it and you've enjoyed yourself while you're doing it, then it doesn't really matter. And that's a motto for life there. So yeah, sing along, sing, I'm colouring in a tortoise today. I'm colouring in a tortoise today. And before you know it, you've finished. You've coloured in a tortoise. And I don't know if any of you have got a tortoise at home. That looks a little bit like a tortoise shell. I mean, if you want to get really fancy, then you can colour in some lighter browns, or maybe a little bit of a different colour here. You can do whatever you like. It's your tortoise. You can make it whatever you want to do. So there we go. We've done the shell there. So that's the most important bit of a tortoise. But a tortoise also needs legs. Okay? So the legs are easy to make. We're going to go for this bit of card here. And then what I want you to do with the card is I want you to take your pointer finger again and sort of place it on the card. And you want about half a finger, okay? So I'm going to mark a line for about half a finger for me, okay? And then I'm going to draw that line all the way across the piece of paper. I mean, you may have a thing called a ruler at home, which helps you do a straight line. I didn't include one today, so I'm just guessing. That's okay, guessing's fine. And then I'm going to take my scissors, which have magically appeared. I didn't tell you you needed the scissors before, and that's because when I started this, I forgot them, and they were over on the table over there. But you will need a pair of scissors. So I've got the scissors now magically in my hand, and I'm going to cut along that line that I've drawn. I say, hopefully your line is a bit straighter than mine, okay? And then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to take the card, and I'm going to bend it around my finger and leave a little bit spare, and then I'm going to cut it off there. Okay, so then I will take my sticky tape and put it there like that. I'll put a little bit more on just so it's a little bit sturdier, okay, because you do need a bit of sturdiness. Okay, and there we have one tortoise leg. I mean, it doesn't look like a tortoise leg at the moment, but believe me, it is. Okay, so I'm going to put that over there, and then we need to repeat it with the middle finger. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. Leave a little bit spare, so you can go across there, and we need to take that up. Okay. I haven't got a song for cutting and taping, but as you know, I can make one up, but I won't do just yet. And then we need to do another one of those. So again, you make a line about half the length of your finger and cut a strip like that. Okay, and then we're going to go for our third finger, what they call the ring finger, because if you get married, that's the finger that you wear your ring on. Okay, so again, we're going to leave a little bit extra. We're going to take that up, and more just to make sure it's nice and sturdy, doesn't come apart. Okay, and then we've got one finger left. Okay, so we're going to use our little finger. We'll do that, and again a little bit more. And you might think I'm rushing through this a bit. I suppose I am a little bit, but you can take as long as you like. You can keep pressing pause, or you can play this video again and again and again. It doesn't matter until you've worked out what it is you've got to do. So there we go. We've got 4 legs, except we haven't got 4 legs. We've got 3 legs and a head, because the way we're going to make our tortoise, we're going to make him walk like this. So in fact, the middle finger, which we did over here, that's going to be our head. So we'll do a little bit more to that. So we need a 4th leg. So we're going to use a thumb. Okay. So again, I just need to cut a strip about the same as the others. So half a finger's length. And this time I'm going to wind it round my thumb. And the thumb is bigger than the fingers, obviously, because it does a lot of the heavy lifting, and it does all the thumbs up. You know, fingers up doesn't really work. So thumbs up it is. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut that off with a little bit of spare on there. Okay. And then we're going to tape it. And a little bit more tape just to make it nice and sturdy. And what we've got there is we've got our 4 legs. So I'm going to put my tortoise legs on. There we go. Oh, I did it again. So there's our tortoise legs. You see what I mean? Nice green tortoise legs. So I'm just going to put those over there for now. And we're going to go back to the head. So remember, this is the one that we did around the middle finger. Okay? So at the moment, it's a tube. But what we need to do is we need to put an end on that tube, because we want a face on our tortoise. How can you have a tortoise without a face? So what we're going to do is we're going to get one of these small offcuts. Hopefully you've got some small offcuts. If not, just use a piece off the bigger bit of card. And we're going to draw a circle around the tube there. Okay. And once you've drawn that circle, we're going to cut it out. Again, you can get a grown-up to do this if you want, because it is a little bit fiddly, cutting something this small. Although I may be just underestimating the cutting skills of you people at home. You never know. Okay, so what we have there is a small green circle, which if I put it on top of there, you can see it fits and makes our tube into half a cylinder. Okay, so what we need to do then is, again, tortoise needs a face. So I'm going to take my black pen and I'm going to draw on the face here. I'm going to draw some eyes. I'm going to draw a couple of dots for his nose, and I'm going to draw a smiley face. Okay. Now there you can see, there's my tortoise's face. I don't know if any of you have got a tortoise. It looks pretty much like a tortoise. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the end, and then I'm going to get some tape and go across it. Now, if you want to, you can do this nice and delicately. I'm obviously rushing for time, but you can do it so it fits perfectly. But as I said, today I'm just getting it done quickly, just so I can show you basically how to do it. You can do it however you want to do it. Do it your own way. Okay, so there we go. Okay, just flatten down those bits of tape at the edge. In fact, I'll put a bit of tape around it. That'll be a good way of flattening it down. Okay, again, this is my rushed version of the tortoise. Timmy, that's what I'm going to call him. Timmy the tortoise. Okay, I think that's a great name for a tortoise. So I'll put that around there. And then, as you can see, there is our tortoise head. Okay, now what we need to do now is attach the head to the body. Okay, so the body is the tortoise shell. Okay, so what we need to do is find the front. I've decided this is the front. You can do whatever you like, because as I always say, this is your tortoise. Okay, and then what we need to do is get a bit of sticky tape, put it on the inside of the top of your tortoise's head. So you can see there's his eyes, his smile, so I put it on the inside of the top there. And then we're just going to press it down on the inside of the plate there. And then again, just to be a bit sturdy, I'll put another bit of tape down. Okay, would you see that there? So now I've got my tortoise head and my tortoise shell. Okay. Now I've also got my tortoise legs, but we need to make sure that it all comes together. So how do we do that? Well, that's simple. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to make some kind of strap to keep the tortoise shell on your hand. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take a thin strip of my green card, probably about 1 centimetre in length. Okay. Then I'm going to put my tortoise head on my middle finger with the shell coming behind it, and then I'm going to put this underneath. And what you need to make sure is that the strap goes over the thumb and the little finger. Okay, and then we're going to lie our tortoise down like this, and we're going to put the strap like that. Again, you may need to get a grown-up to help you with this because it's a little bit tricky. But once you've done that, you can get some tape, put the sticky tape on like that. Okay. And that will keep the strap in place. Again, I'll put a little bit more. You like things nice and sturdy. Okay, and then if you can see, because I've been rushing, I've gone over the edge there, so I'm just going to trim that away so that the strap isn't visible to the outside, because we want to make it as lifelike as possible. And I don't know if you know any tortoises, but they don't tend to have a visible strap. So what I can do now is I'll put that strap inside there. So I've got my 3 middle fingers inside the strap. The middle finger goes into the head, and then you can see there. And then what I'm going to do there is I'm going to put the legs on my other fingers. Okay. And there we've got the basics of a tortoise. Okay. But we're not quite finished yet, because every tortoise has a tail. So we're going to make a tail. So let me take my fingers off again. Tails are going to be very easy to make. Again, we can take an offcut of our green card that we've been using. Again, if you haven't got an offcut, then you can make it own. And we're going to cut a triangle. Okay. So cut a triangle there. You can see I've got a triangle. And then I'm going to find the opposite end to the head, because that's usually where the tail is, the opposite end to the head. And then stick it to the inside of the tortoise. And then, do you know what? Just for an extra special treat, I'm going to take a little bit of red card. And if you haven't got any red card, you can take some white card and just colour it in. And I'm going to make my tortoise a tongue, because I think my tortoise is quite cheeky. And if you've ever seen tortoises, they do love pulling their tongue out. So I've made a bit of a tongue shape. Doesn't really matter what shape it is, as long as it's a little bit tonguey. And I'm going to stick that on my tortoise, so that is pulling his tongue out at everybody at home. Okay, so that's just about finished, but let's see what it looks like when we put it all together. Okay. How about that? And your tortoise can walk very slowly, and he can say hello, and he can even say hello to your mouse. So there we go. So hopefully you'll have had some fun there. You'll have made a mouse, you'll have made a tortoise, and really, if you just put your mind to it, you can make finger puppets for pretty much any animal you want. We'll be back soon with another activity. Hopefully you've had fun today, and you're carrying on with the summer reading challenge, reading all of your books, and we'll see you at the end of the summer when you've done everything you need to and you're part of our silly squad. Till then, goodbye!